One. Well, will you look at that? The New York Knicks have fired their coach once again. Let's just go down this spiral to death as this team continues to be terrible. Good afternoon and welcome to the podcast. I'm Nick Drago and I'm going to talk all about the Knicks today. Well, not the entire show because then you'll just want to jump out a window like I do. But we're also going to talk all about the college bowl games were announced this week and what Senator Starr was involved in an armed robbery. Am I reading that right? All right, well, we got a packed show for you, so stick with us, friends, because sports starts now. And welcome to the Sports Podcast with me, your host, Nick Drago. For those of you who are new to the program, first off, enjoy the view or the sound of my voice. Somebody's either listening or watching, or I don't even give a patootie. Welcome to the show. If you've never been here before, we talk all about the previous news and information from last week in the sports world, and maybe go into a little bit of what's going to happen during the next week. If you like what you hear, find us on the Soundcloud, the YouTube, the Twitter, and the Facebook. Just type in your sports bar. This is the second week in a row I've done that. Search bar, sports with Nick Drago. I'm thinking about sports bar, pubs, beer. Had a lot of that this weekend. Had some friends over. We did a little Friendsgiving celebration. It was nice to give back to my friends. I also enjoyed food too. So I guess we just cooked a big meal and had people come eat it. Anywho, I don't even know where to start today. Yes, I do. We're going to start with football. Let's talk all about that football. Nimmy nabby bimmy babby babba dibba doo. All right, let's start talking about some of these games from this weekend. Of course, my favorites, the Jets, once again giving me a team to be proud of. I don't really know. They almost lost to the Dolphins, 22-21. Really, they kicked that game-winning field goal because of a reviewed call. It was just a mess, absolute mess. Sam Darnold had 2 touchdowns though on the day, so. I guess that's a positive. We'll call that a positive. Another good day for Robbie Anderson, by the way, 116 yards. Steelers and Cardinals. Steelers with 23, Cardinals with 17. Really crazy day for Johnson. 2 touchdowns for him, leading the Steelers. Seahawks and Rams, this game's going on right now. I have no idea why this one's in the middle of my thing here, but the Rams are ahead 7-3. If the Seahawks win, they could clinch the division. So, no, that's not right. That can't be right. Did I read that right? Okay, just ignore I said that. I didn't say that. All right, let's move on. Falcons beat the Panthers 40-20 in a big game for the Falcons. They've been needing some wins. Last couple of weeks, they've been getting them. Matt Ryan, 313 yards, 2 TDs. Ravens with another win this week over the Bills, 24-17, much closer than anybody expected. Lamar Jackson with 3 touchdowns in that game. Not so bad for him. And they go up to 11-2 now, still looking like the Super Bowl favorites at the moment. Browns get a big win over the Bengals. 27-19, Dalton with 262 yards, 3 TDs overall for Cleveland. Now, Cleveland, of course, was hit with the news today that our good old pal, Odell Beckham, is not enjoying his time there. Not surprised. The guy's only got 2 touchdowns, I think, in 12 games. Not really having a fantastic season. Not really his fault either. Baker doesn't throw him the ball as much. Yeah, that's the scoop we have for you there on that one. Packers, they win 20-15 over the Redskins. Yeah, not much to say there. That should have been a better game for the Packers, although 134 yards rushing for Aaron Jones. Vikings beat the Lions 20-7. Absolutely crushed them. Danielle Hunter, by the way, Hunter for the Lions, 25 years old. He's the youngest player to reach 50 sacks. So congratulations for Danielle. 49ers, they beat the Saints 48-46. Really exciting game. 5 touchdowns for Mr. Drew Brees, 4 touchdowns for Mr. Jimmy Garoppolo. Big game there. Emmanuel Sanders, he had 157 yards for San Francisco and a TD to boot. Buccaneers got a win over the Colts 38-35. Jameis Winston having possibly one of the best games of his career. He threw 33 for 45, 456 yards, and 4 TDs in that one. Broncos get a win over the Texans 38-24. Chargers beat the Jaguars 45-10. Phillip Rivers had 314 yards and 3 touchdowns. DJ Shark, by the way, injured during that game. That's a big hurt for the Jags. They sort of needed that guy down the stretch. Titans beat the Raiders 42-21. Ryan Tannehill, 391 yards, 3 TDs. By the way, 2 touchdowns for Derrick Henry and 2 touchdowns for A.J. Brown. So huge game all around for the Tennessee Titans. By the way, that's their 4th win in a row, and it sets them up for a really big game against Texas next week. Chiefs beat the Patriots. They take the AFC, they take their division title. This stupid thing. Sorry. Chiefs get the title, beating out the Patriots. Pats lose. Is this their 3rd straight loss? Well, no. The Patriots lose for the 2nd week in a row. And this is their first home loss in 21 straight games. They haven't lost at home in 21 games. Isn't that unbelievable? Absolutely unbelievable. And by the way, our Thursday night game was the Cowboys and Bears, with Trubisky getting a big win over the Cowboys. Now, the Eagles can really capitalize on that if they beat the Giants tomorrow. I know I live here in the city of Philadelphia. All the fans here are going nuts, hoping that maybe, just maybe, the Eagles could tie up the division with the Cowboys. Now, you could be seeing a team with a losing record get to the playoffs. What does that mean? Nothing. They're just like any other team. They just lost a lot more games. Doesn't mean they can't win. The Seahawks did it with a losing record, beating out the defending Super Bowl champs, the Saints, way back when. I want to say that was 2012, 2013, somewhere around there. So it could happen. But what the Eagles have to look out for is Eli Manning returning, and this could go one of 2 ways. Eli Manning's had a pretty rough couple of years, and we could just see the rusty Eli Manning of old, who hasn't played in like 11 weeks now, and wasn't really that great when he did play. Or this could be Eli's swan song. With Daniel Jones injured, Eli sees this as his last chance to show and prove that he is a winning quarterback. And man, he could go off against a division rival like the Eagles, a team he's crushed time and time again over the years. So, I don't know. It could go either way, but that Monday night game should be exciting. But let's look at the standings. All right, so AFC East, Patriots on top 10-3. Bills are 1 game behind them at 9-4. They're catching up, and there's a chance they could take the division. Jets are 5-8, Dolphins 3-10. In the AFC North, the Ravens have clinched it in undramatic fashion. They've won 9 straight games. They're 11-2. Steelers are 8-5, Browns are 6-7, and the Bengals are 1-12. Let's see. AFC South, I got the Texans on top. They're 8-5, followed by the Titans at 8-5. So that's tied and going into a game next week. Titans, by the way, winning their last 4. We did mention that earlier. Colts are 6-7, and the Jags are 3-9. So that division's up for grabs. In the West, the Chiefs have clinched the division. Very exciting stuff there. Raiders are right behind them at 6-7. Broncos 5-8. Chargers 5-8 themselves. And while we're on that subject, let's take a look at which of these teams would be getting into the Super Bowl. Which of these teams would be getting into the playoffs right now? So obviously, for the division leaders, you got the Patriots, the Ravens. Right now, it's the Texans, right? But anything can happen. And then you have the Chiefs. Your wild card teams would still be the Bills, and you'd still have the Steelers. Remember, the Steelers have a slight advantage over the Titans. And there's nobody else that's really close. I think both of those teams are 8-5 right now. So, Steelers have a slight advantage. We talked about that on our show 2 weeks ago. So, if you need a refresher, go back 2 weeks. All right, let's look at the NFC. So in the East, Cowboys are 6-7, Eagles are 5-7, Redskins 3-10, Giants are 10-2-10. In the North, you got the Packers at 10-3, Vikings on their heels at 9-4. Bears are 7-6, and the Lions, who've lost 6 straight games, they're 3-9-1. In the NFC South, the Saints have already clinched. They're 10-3, followed by the Buccaneers at 6-7, Panthers at 5-8, and the Falcons, they're at 4-9. Panthers, by the way, they've lost their last 5 games. They started out with a decent record. They were 5-3. They had some potential. Totally fell apart from there because they stink. In the West, you got the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Rams, and the Cardinals. I don't know what I was talking about earlier with the Seahawks clinching. Maybe I thought I had read something, or I don't know. I just totally lost it. So no, don't expect a clinch tonight. But really exciting stuff coming out of the West, because you got the 49ers and the Seahawks, who look like a 1-2 punch of craziness. All right, so season ends today. Who you got? You got Dallas, Green Bay, the Saints, and the 49ers. Those are your division leaders. And then you got the Vikings and the Seahawks. Those would be your other teams. You know, the other teams. Your wild cards. Those would be your wild cards. And taking it one step further, who do I think is going to make it to the Super Bowl? I think it's either going to be the Saints or the Seahawks. I mean, the 49ers look really good, but I don't know. I'd really like to see them beat out some of these other teams right now. The Packers, the Saints, the Seahawks, all with much more playoff experience than the 49ers do. I don't see it happening for them, but I could see a team like the Seahawks or the Saints getting in there. Maybe that's just my old world thought. If we're going back to that AFC, I'm still saying the Ravens. I'm sorry, the last one was more of a joke. All right, let's see what games are coming up next week. Thursday night game will be Jets and Ravens. Boring. Jets defense maybe will give the Ravens something, but really nothing special there. New England plays Cincinnati. That's boring. Houston, Tennessee. I already told you that's going to be a big one. You're going to want to watch out for that. Let's see. Wow, a lot of not so entertaining games next weekend. Maybe Dallas, LA could be something. Both teams are not having a great season and really looking for a win. Pittsburgh, Buffalo does have some playoff implications. Both are wild card teams currently in the AFC, so there could be something exciting there. And then your Monday night game would be New Orleans and Indianapolis. So really not a great looking week coming. All right, and before we move on to our commercial break, they did announce the bowls for college bowl season is upon us. So starting Friday, December 10th, 20th, sorry, December 10th, a few days away. Friday, December 20th, we got our first taste of bowl season. So you got Buffalo and Charlotte playing off in the Makers Wanted Bahamas Bowl. By the way, I love the names of some of these. Utah State will take on Kent State in the Tropical Smoothie Cafe Frisco Bowl. And then on the December 21st, you got the New Mexico Bowl featuring Central Michigan and San Diego State. The FBC Mortgage Cure Bowl with Liberty taking on Georgia Southern. The Sheribundi Boca Raton Bowl with SMU taking on Florida Atlantic. The Camellia Bowl with Florida International and Arkansas State. Mitsubishi Motors Las Vegas Bowl with Boise State and Washington. Boise being ranked 19th in the nation. Then you got the Arnell Careers New Orleans Bowl. That's Appalachian State, number 20, and UAB. Good for you, UAB, getting into a bowl. UCF will be taking on Marshall in the Bad Boy Mowers Gasparilla Bowl. And then on December 24th, Christmas Eve, you got Hawaii and BYU in the SoFi Hawaii Bowl. Aloha. Thursday, the 26th, day after Christmas, Louisiana Tech and Miami in the Walk-Ons Independence Bowl. And then you got Pittsburgh and Eastern Michigan in the Quick Lane Bowl. Now, moving on to December 27th, you got North Carolina and Temple playing in the Military Bowl presented by Northrop Grumman. And that'll be at the Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. Michigan and Wake Forest in the New Era Pinstripe Bowl. Oklahoma State, number 25, and Texas A&M at the Academy Sports and Outdoor Texas Bowl. USC and Iowa. Two ranked teams playing off in the San Diego County Credit Union Holiday Bowl. And then Air Force and Washington State in the Cheez-It Bowl. All right, moving on to the 28th. You got Memphis and Penn State in the Goodyear Cotton Bowl Classics. Now we're getting to some good stuff. Notre Dame is taking on Iowa State in the Camping World Bowl. Oklahoma and LSU will be in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl. And then Kent, Clemson, and Ohio State playing off in the PlayStation Fiesta Bowl. So those are your playoff teams, by the way. LSU, number 1. Number 2, Ohio State. Number 3, Clemson. And number 4, Oklahoma. I think those are pretty solid picks. I mean, honestly, those have been the best 4 teams all season. So I'm not really shocked by this at all. And then December 30th, you'll have Western Kentucky and Western Michigan in the Serve Pro First Responder Bowl, Mississippi State and Louisville in the Franklin American Mortgage Music City Bowl. Can you guys add some less words to this? California and Illinois in the Red Box Bowl. That's a Red Box movie. Florida and Virginia in the Capital One Orange Bowl. And then the 23rd, you got Virginia Tech and Kentucky in the Belk Bowl. Florida State and Arizona State in the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. Come on, really? That one's going to be great! Wyoming and Georgia State in the Nova Home Loans Arizona Bowl. Utah and Texas in the Valero Alamo Bowl. Long live the Alamo. And Minnesota and Auburn, they'll be in the Outback Bowl. Mississippi. Michigan and Alabama in the Verbo Citrus Bowl. Oregon and Wisconsin, that's the Rose Bowl. By the way, that's presented by Northwestern Mutual. That's the actual name of the bowl this year, is Rose Bowl game presented by Northwestern Mutual. The All-State Sugar Bowl will be Georgia and Baylor, so you got some big bowl games there, of course. And now moving into the new year, January 2nd, Boston College, BC, and Cincinnati, Ticketmaster Birmingham Bowl. Indiana and Tennessee in the Tax Slayer Gator Bowl. Ohio and Nevada in the famous Idaho Potato Bowl. That bowl is famous, all right. And then January 4th, you got the Southern Mississippi Tulane matchup in the Lockheed Martin Armed Forces Bowl. That'll be in Fort Worth, Texas. You got Louisiana and Miami, Ohio in the Lending Tree Bowl. And then by 13th, you'll have your playoff finals, which should be exciting. Ohio State, maybe Clemson, maybe LSU, but not Alabama this year. Not Alabama. And with that, we're going to head into our first and only commercial break of the evening. And trust me, you're not going to want to miss me when I return, because I'm going to talk about the Knicks. I got to do it. I got to talk about the New York Knicks. So, buckle up for that one, because it should be a doozy. Stay with us, friends. Sports. We'll be right back.
Lillard, a chance to send the Thunder home. Lillard, long-range three, and it's good! At the buzzer! Damian Lillard! Are you kidding me?
Hey everybody, it is Jamie Grum here. I am just trying to introduce you to a new podcast that I will be in with my friend Nick Drago. It is called Big Spoon, Little Spoon, and what we're going to do is just pick a random topic out of a hat, talk about it, see if we can learn anything, and just have a little fun. So if you want to contact us, see us, we are going to be on Facebook, Twitter. You can email us at wehatesports@gmail.com, and you can also find us on all of your favorite podcast apps. Look forward to seeing you.
Kevin Miller. Right back ahead, it's DeBrusque with a step. DeBrusque trying to get free.
And welcome back to the show, friends. Let me just... We're just going to fix that screen. Sorry for those of you listening and have no idea what the heck I'm ooh-yeah-ing about. I'm just fixing the screen. It's all good. We're good. Okay. Can I be angry now? Can I be happy now? I don't really know how to feel about the Knicks this season. Listen, the team's terrible. Don't get me started on the awful decisions they made. Julius Randle and Morris and Taj Gibson. Don't get me started on any of that stuff. The players are not the problem here. Management is, has, and will always be the problem. And it's not even James Dolan who made any of the shots in this thing. For once, he's staying away. James Dolan's just staying away. It's not his fault. Mills and Perry are killing the franchise. Should we start from the summer? Does anybody even know what went on this weekend? They fired their coach. They fired Fizdale, who was meant to be... The guy was set up for failure. To be perfectly honest with you, they gave him an absolute garbage dumpster fire of a team, right? They are losing games by an average of 17 points or more. They're 4-19. They never gave him a chance, never even gave him a roster he could win with. Okay? Yes, very poorly managed team. You have young stars in the making like Knox, Nalikina, like Robinson, Barrett, who are either being overplayed or underplayed, and it just makes absolutely no sense around the board. You got Julius Randle, who was a superstar last season, who can't even make a damn bucket this year. So yes, the team was not being coached properly. Fizdale didn't really work with what he had. But Mills and Perry, right, the president and the GM, have had a horrible, horrible time of putting together a roster. They totally whiffed it on what should have been an easy in with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. They wanted to come to New York. They did, just for the wrong team. They went to the Nets because they didn't feel like the Knicks were committed. The Knicks weren't going to give them the money, whatever it was. They had all the money in the world to make this work. They could have kept Porzingis, turned this into a winning franchise last season. And instead, they didn't. They blew it. And now they fired Fizdale. They didn't even show up to the press conference after the game to answer any questions about Miller, the team, whatever. These guys are trash, and the team is just more fuel for the dumpster fire. Just more fuel for that dumpster fire. Listen, it's going to be another 20 years till the Knicks win anything. I'm going to be sad about it until then. And honestly, I don't even know why I care anymore. This team's been a garbage dumpster fire for the last almost 20 years now. Can you believe that? 20 years. All right, you want to talk about the rest of the basketball? Let's talk about the rest of the basketball. All right, let's start with Friday. The Nets got a big win over the Hornets, 111-104. Magic beat the Cavaliers 93-87. By the way, Cavs are talking about maybe trading Kevin Love. I don't even think the guy's worth anything right now, but that's a thing that's out there at the moment. Pistons beat the Pacers 108-101. Andre Drummond with a double-double, 25 points, 22 rebounds. Not bad, Andre. Heat beat the Wizards 112-103. Warriors got a win? What? Oh, it was against the Bulls. That's why. Warriors beat the Bills 100-98. It wasn't. Oh, that's bad. Just bad. Glenn Robinson III led the way for Golden State. 20.7 rebounds, 2 steals. Thunder get a win over the Timberwolves 139-127 in overtime. That was actually a really exciting game. I highly recommend going back and watch those highlights. By the way, Thunder had 41 points in the third, so check that one out too. That period, inning. What do you call them? Quarter. All right, Celtics got a big win over the Nuggets, 108-95. You got 2 playoff teams in the making, maybe championship finals. I don't know. Bucks beat the Clippers, another big win, 119-91. Spurs got a win over the Kings, 105-104. And the Lakers beat the Trailblazers, 136-113. 39 points for Mr. Anthony Davis. Let's go ahead and take a look at, how do I get there? Let's take a look at Saturday's games here. So Saturday, Pacers beat the Knicks 104-103. No shocker there. Mavericks 130-84 over the Pelicans. 76ers destroyed the Cavaliers. Absolutely destroyed them. I think the score, it was 77 to, let me do some math here. 36? 77 to 36 at halftime? Wow. Pretty bad. 141-94. Big win for Ben Simmons. By the way, they're trying to get Ben Simmons to shoot a three-pointer every game. Good luck with that one. Rockets beat the Suns 115-109, and the Jazz got a win over the Grizzlies 126-112. And let's look at Sunday. By the way, I want to take this time to thank ESPN for allowing us to use their graphics for our show. Nets got a big win over the Nuggets 105-102. Nikola Jokic, he had 24 points, 11 rebounds with a double-double, friends. Thunder and Trailblazers are currently playing 15-12 in favor of the Thunder. Hawks getting a win over the Hornets, 122-107. Big game for Trae Young, 30 points there. Heat beat the Bulls, 110-105. Raptors lose to the Sixers. Another big win for the Sixers, 110-104. Clippers got a win over the Wizards, 135-119. Kings beat the Mavs, 110-106. Doncic, by the way, for Dallas, has had 20-plus points in, how many straight games now? I just had that stat. 19 straight games with 20 points or more. That's more than Mr. Michael Jordan's ever had in his career. Timberwolves and the Lakers, that's a late game tonight, but could be an exciting one. So, yeah, who knows? Let's look at those standings. Starting in the East, of course, the Bucks are ahead. They're 20-3 right now. 3 games behind them is the Celtics and the Heat. Celtics are 16-5. Heat are 17-6. 76ers are 17-7. 3.5 games back. And then behind them, you got the Raptors, who've lost 3 straight. That really hurts because they were looking really good up until this point. Pacers are 15-8. Nets are 13-10. Magic are 11-11. 2.5 games behind the Magic, you have the Pistons at 9-14. 3.5 games back, you have the Hornets at 9-16, and then you got the Bulls, Wizards, Hawks, Cavaliers, and of course, the New York basketball Knicks. Moving into the Western Conference right now, you got the Lakers on top. They're 20-3. They've only lost 3 games this season. Clippers are 17-7. Mavericks are 16-7. Rockets are 15-7. Nuggets are 14-7. Jazz is 13-11. I'm sorry, 13-10. Timberwolves are 10-11, and the Suns are 10-12. So 2 losing teams in the mix right now. Meanwhile, the Thunder are 9-12 at the moment. Kings are 9-13. Spurs are 9-14. Trailblazers are 9-14. So you have a lot of teams all within 2 games of being in those playoffs. And then you have the Grizzlies at 6-16, Pelicans at 6-17, and the Warriors at 5-19. Now there's got to be a couple of big games this weekend. Starting Monday, you got the Thunder and the Trailblazers. That should be fun. Oh wait, was that today? That's going on right now. We're on Sunday. All right, let's go to Monday. Here we go. Monday games. Monday. Actually, it doesn't look like you have anything really that special going on Monday. Moving a little further in the week, Denver is playing the Sixers. That's going to be on Tuesday, December 10th, so that should be an exciting one. That game's going to be on TNT, by the way, so check that out. LA, the Clippers, and the Raptors. That should be fun. Kawhi Leonard taking on his former team. Might want to tune into that one. Boston plays the Pacers. You could check that game out, I suppose. Moving down a little bit, Milwaukee and New Orleans. Actually, that's probably going to be terrible. New York and Golden State, 2 worst teams in the league. That could be competitive, right? 76ers take on Boston. Rough week for the Sixers. So you should check that one out for sure. Dallas and Detroit could be interesting. And then moving on to Friday, you have, let's see, Lakers are taking on the Miami Heat. LeBron playing a former team of his. Maybe not the most recent, but still a former team indeed. And then the Clippers in Minnesota, that's a later one there. So you got some interesting games coming up for the next week. I would definitely go check a couple of those out. Faux show. And let's look at hockey a little bit too. Penguins going to win over the Coyotes 2-0. Tristan Jarry, that's the name you're going to want to look out for. Matt Murray's backup in Pittsburgh was unbelievable. 33 saves that day. Blackhawks beat the Devils in a shootout 2-1. Canadians and the Rangers, with the Canadians getting a win 2-1. Whoa, we're moving way too far ahead here. Oilers and the Kings, Oilers getting a win there 2-1. And then the Capitals, they got a win over the Ducks. That was 3-2. Moving over to Saturday's games. There should be a couple of interesting ones. Oh man, why you be so slow? Slow computer. There we go. Penguins again, back to backers. They win this one 5-3. Malkin had another great game playing in Crosby's absence. The Flyers, they got a win over the Senators 4-3. Really close one. Those Flyers are they're playing strong right now. They're definitely a team to look out for. I've been saying for the last few years, I think they're a few years away. Maybe their time's finally coming? I don't know. Canucks got a big win over the Sabres, 6-5 in that one. Avalanche beat the Bruins. Huge win for the Avs. I mean, the Bruins are undoubtedly the best team in the East. And Avalanche came in and gave them a show. Nate McKinnon returning to the lineup. That was big for them. Lightning beat the Sharks 7-1. Wow, 7-1. I think Lightning maybe we thought they were waking up a few weeks ago. They were starting to go on a hot streak, and then they kind of fizzled out. Interesting things happening in that division where Tampa Bay just doesn't have it this year. Panthers, they beat the Blue Jackets 4-1. Hurricanes beat the Wild 6-2. Maple Leafs get a win over the Blues 5-2. Preds beat the Devils 6-4. Islanders lose to the Stars 3-1. And the Flames get a big win over the Kings 4-3. By the way, it was announced that Calgary will indeed be staying in Calgary. I believe they got a new stadium deal in place. And that should keep the team there for 35 years. 35-year deal, and they'll be getting a new arena out of it. I think that's pretty solid. No shocker here. I didn't think Calgary was really going anywhere. Some games are going on right now. Blackhawks and Coyotes in overtime, 3-3. That's spicy meatball. And the Rangers get a win over the Golden Knights 5-0. I'm sorry, they're winning 5-0 in the third. There's 11 seconds left, so unless the Golden Knights scored 5 goals in 11 seconds, this game's over. Sabres and Oilers, another game that's tied. This one's in the second period. Jets and Ducks, with the Jets walking away with that one, and the Panthers getting a win over the Sharks 5-1. And let's see them standings. Bruins are 20-4. They have 46 points on top of the Atlantic. Panthers are very far behind. They're 35 points, although they won 2 straight. Buffalo, by the way, is 3-4-3 in their last 10 games. They're starting to falter. They're at 32. Montreal also at 32. They're 2-6-2 in their last 10 games. Maple Leafs picked it up the last few. They're 32 now, and maybe they'll win a couple more, although they've played more games than a lot of the other teams around them, including the Lightning. Lightning have only played 27 games so far this year. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10, but only 31 points. So the reason I'm saying where they are in their last 10 is because really nobody at the beginning of the season would have expected the Panthers and the Sabres to be number 2 and 3 on this list. You know, the Leafs, the Lightning, the Senators all have been somewhat successful teams over the last few years, and all 3 of them are not looking like playoff teams at the moment, but they're getting closer. So we'll see. A lot can happen in this league. Red Wings are dead last. They're at 17. Moving into the Metro, the Capitals continue to dominate. They've won 6 straight games, 49 points. Islanders not having a great stretch right now. They're 5-4-1 in their last 10. Flyers have 39 points, so not very far behind the Islanders. They could take second place over them, although the Islanders have played 2 less games. Pittsburgh, they're also at 38, and they've won 3 straight. They seem to be highs and lows this season, up and down, ebbs and flows. Hurricanes have 37 points, followed by the Rangers at 31. Blue Jackets at 26, and the last place, the Devils at 23. Devils, by the way, have lost 5 straight. Into the Western Conference we go. The Blues are on top in the Central. Now, the Central has been all topsy-turvy the last couple of weeks. The Blues are now emerging on top of that division. Behind them is the Avalanche at 40 points. Avalanche have won 6 straight, including that huge game. By the way, they have 107 goals. That's a whole lot of goals. 8 and 2 in their last 10. Winnipeg at 38 points. Dallas Stars at 37. Dallas was the bee's knees a few weeks ago, and now they're down in 4th place. So like I said, things can change quick. Minnesota Wild, they're 32. Nashville Predators at 31, and the Blackhawks at 29. In the Pacific, the Oilers are on top of this one at 39. Coyotes very, very close behind at 38. You got the Golden Knights at 35, Canucks at 34, Flames at 34, Sharks at 32, Ducks at 28, and the Kings at 24. So kind of a bit of a log jam there where, the Sharks could, let's say they win their next 4 games or so. They could go from almost second to last to second place. It's first place. It's all over the map. All over the map for the Pacific. Sorry, I forgot to do this for the East, but if the playoffs started right now, for the Central, you'd have the Blues, Avalanche, Jets. For the Pacific, the Oilers, Coyotes, Knights. And then you'd have your wild card teams right now would be the Dallas Stars and the Vancouver Canucks. We'll go back to the East real quick. You have the Bruins, Panthers, Sabres, Capitals, Islanders, and Flyers for the Metro, and then your wild card teams there would be your Pittsburgh Penguins and your Carolina Hurricanes, so the Hurricanes would move over to that Atlantic Division. And real quick, love stats. I love hockey stats in particular, so let's take a look at the league leaders right now. 4 points, Leon Draisaitl. I can't do this guy's name. The dude from Edmonton, Leon Draisaitl, followed by Connor McDavid. Draisaitl got 53, McDavid's 52. So 2 Edmonton guys on top right now. Nate McKinnon's at 45. Brad Marchand and Dave Pasternak, both for the Bruins, are 44 and 43 respectively. Defensive leaders, Tristan Jarry with that goals against average of 1.81. He is on fire right now. Same thing with save percentage. He's on top. Goals, you got Pasternak with 25, Ovechkin at 20. My boy Leon at 19. Also Connors at 19, Nate McKinnon at 18. And then, where's assists? Did they take that out of here? I think they should have assists over plus minus. Dang it, ESPN! You just don't know hockey. For wins, Braden Holtby, Frederick Anderson, Connor Hellebuyck, David Redditch, and Peter Mrazek for Carolina. All within 2 wins of each other, so not much excitement there. All right, before we wrap up the show, I do want to talk about our Athlete of the Week. I mentioned it just briefly earlier. Mark Borowiecki, who I got to give this guy credit, stopped a robbery, a robbed armory is literally what I was about to say. An armed robbery, stopped an armed robbery just recently. So he was walking home, lives in Vancouver. By the way, he's a defenseman for the Ottawa Senators, in case you didn't know that. And happened to see somebody attempting to rob someone. He saw someone trying to break into a car and was stealing a bunch of stuff. Confronted the guy, beat the living snot out of him. The guy did get away, but all of the stuff that was taken was returned. So they've been calling him Boro Cop on the Ottawa Senators Twitter page. So got to give this guy a lot of credit. He admitted he's not much of a fighter on the ice, but he's pretty confident in handling himself when he's off the ice. He's a scary looking dude. He's got the big gap of teeth missing in the middle there. Yeah, all the same. Mark, awesome job out there. I'm sure the Vancouver police would love to have you someday. All right, with that, let's wrap up the show. Special thanks, as usual, to Johanna Drago. She is the content designer, logo designer, and set designer for this podcast. She's also my wife, so love her. And then, of course, the song for this podcast is a song called Golden Sunrise by Josh Woodward. Hiccups, sorry. A link to his website can be found in the show notes. Is there anything else? Special thanks, as usual, to Mary Kay Albert, Joe Calabro, some of our super fans, for listening out there. Remember, email me if you have anything you want me to talk about on the show, sports3xpodcast@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, SoundCloud, YouTube, and the Facebook. Just type in Sports with Nick Drago. We're also on all your favorite podcast listening app, so you can find me there too. Same thing, Sports with Nick Drago. Again, such a pleasure hanging out with you guys. So when you get a chance, please like, comment, share, subscribe, and tweet at me. Twitter, bitter. Yeah, so I'm going to go try out for the Knicks coaching job. I think I would do a terrible job, but you know what? So would everybody else. So, I might as well give it a shot. Wish me luck, folks. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Thank you. Bye.